Okay, we're looking at an aerial view of Hamptons Pointe, and I've drawn up somewhat of a phasing plan of what we could do in order to get all of this area seal coated and still not make everybody upset. So let's start with up on the hill. What you see in red is what we would seal coat on the first day. So up in this section, let me use my little iPad pencil here to point things out. So in the red here is half of the roadway closest to all their garages for these buildings here at these units. Then we would leave this half open for cars to parallel park, come in, and exit. Not a lot of room, but if they really want to park, they would have to probably back in to this area here, okay? But that's about all we can do. And then, and mind you, this is all the first phase, what's inside the red. So we would do inside this red area and then go all the way down the hill and seal coat the half of the road that's closest to these units. And then we would leave this little section open, and that half where the parallel parking is. Then we would close off this section, seal coat this. So this will be off limits going down this hill, and going down this hill will be off limits. So people will have to drive to the right and get down the hill. So they'll have to go the long way around. And then inside this red area is all the parallel parking and half of the roadway. So we would seal coat all of that on the first phase and then leave this half of the road closest to all these units. We would leave that open all along that side of the road that's closest to all these units. So people would be able to come in and out if they needed to. Now, mind you, it's only 10 feet of roadway that we'll be able to give them, and we might be able to push it out just a little bit farther, you know, make it maybe 12 feet wide, so that way they can back out of their garage and leave. But it's going to be one of those tricky situations that hopefully no one's driving while the other person's coming in. You know, it's just the way it has to be. All right, so then on phase 2, what we would do is all these areas that are inside the red will all be opened up. And then what we'll do is we would seal coat this half, which is farthest away from these units. Seal coat this, which is farthest away from these units, and I'll highlight it here real quick so you'd see what phase 2 would be. Okay, so this gives you a better idea. So phase 2 is what's in yellow. We would seal coat that, and seal coat everything closest to all these units. And then everything that you see highlighted in red or outlined in red will be already done from the first phase. So what does that mean for everybody that lives down here? Well, there's really no other way to go about it, but we would seal coat everything closest to their units. If they wanted to, they could park along the side of the street here in the parallel parking. Granted, it's like you got to come in, come down here, you could turn around, and then find yourself a parallel parking stall to park in if need be. But getting into their building, they're not going to be able to go through that area because it's going to be seal coated. Now, later in the evening time, when we go to seal coat this area in the yellow, it'll be drying up. And if the weather's nice enough, then hopefully by about 5 o'clock or so, a lot of these areas here will be dry enough for foot traffic so people can go over it, but we won't allow that unless we see that it's dry. Okay, in which at that point we would have to, let people know, hey, it's okay to walk on this. And when this area is dry, or when the seal coat is dry, when it starts to turn that charcoal color. It's when it looks glossy and brown color that you'll notice that the asphalt is still wet with seal coat, and you'll kind of see little patches of puddles. And we want to make sure that people are staying off of it, really, no matter what, because if one person steps in some seal coat and they track it into their house or onto the concrete, it's bad news. So I'm just going to say all of this will be blocked off for 24 hours, and they're going to have to get friendly with each other and kind of walk through their sidewalk areas or kind of up and over their little planter areas in order to get out of there, because they will not be able to cross over on the day when we're doing the seal coat in the yellow. Okay, so that is my approach to this. Definitely you'll have to get the word out to the tenants, notifying them, that the outside half of this road's going to be closed on phase 1, as well as the areas in red there. We'll have it all caution taped. And then on phase 2, we'll do the yellow areas. So anything that's yellow is going to be blocked off, and they will not be able to go on it that day. The very next morning, after we do our seal coats on each phase, we come out, we look at it, and if it all looks good and dry, then we remove the caution tape. Okay, thank you.